Hello, my name's Michael Conneely, and this video is about how to analyse the effects of an eclipse in your life. It's coming out in January 2019 when there are actually two eclipses, a solar then a lunar. And we're filming it here in the beautiful west of Ireland, where my wife Maggie Pashley and I have a healing centre on the Atlantic coast of County Sligo. So I'm not going to go into great detail in the video because what you need to do is to go to the accompanying blog. So basically the blog says, first of all, well, what's the difference between a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse? And there are a couple of beautiful diagrams telling you all about that. The next point in the blog says, well, note the path of visibility across the face of the earth of the eclipse, because the effects are bigger there, particularly in what's called mundane astrology, where we look at like the affairs of nations and so forth. And also note whether the eclipse is full or partial, because the full eclipses have the bigger effect, and the longer an eclipse lasts, the longer its effects last. And in fact, eclipses create a dammed up energy space in the heavens, which is like, well, which in a sense can intercept other orbiting planets going through later on, going through that space. So, you know, we need to be aware when that's being created. So what is the nature of an eclipse? Well, basically, it's very similar to an earthquake. So an earthquake is when tension builds up in the rocks of the earth. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Can't stand the pressure anymore. There's an earthquake. And if it's under the sea, it's a tsunami. An eclipse is very similar. If the eclipse falls on one of your planets or in a house in your birth chart, that indicates an area of life where you're off course, then an eclipse will wreak destruction, huge or minor. But the divine purpose is obviously to liberate you from your prison or your swamp or your blindness or your denial, and open your eyes to the ever offered shining light of spirit, and chance to be the spiritual warrior, to see the true nature of the battlefield, not all the cozy illusions that you covered up with until the eclipse. But if the eclipse occurs in an area of your chart which represents, by planet or by house, an area of life where you're actually making progress in terms of your incarnational life purpose, then there can be a flowering of that area. And, you know, you can get in touch with me for a reading for the year ahead, where, of course, I'll cover eclipses. So that's my starwheelastrology.com readings website. And my courses website is mastervedicastrology.com, although I also do within that website, two wonderful Western astrology courses as well, psychodynamic and evolutionary Western astrology, and then the advanced levels of those. So if you have a look at the blog, well, you'll see that I list what area of life each planet is the indicator for. So if your eclipse falls on Jupiter, which is about expansiveness but also spirituality and knowledge, then if you're over expansive and full of glitzy negative sides of Jupiter, you'll suffer. But if you're on a genuine spiritual path, inspiration can open. So I'm putting it like very simply. So those are the planets as natural indicators or natural karikas. But then there's the wonderful system of charakarikas, where the planets indicate a particular area of our life. It's completely independent to each of us, how it manifests. from our chart, and the most important one is the Atmakarika, or the soul indicator. And if eclipse falls on your Atmakarika, that is so major. And the blog also has about 2 or 3 lines of very useful keywords about each of the houses. So if you, for example, have the eclipse in your 2nd house in your Vedic birth chart, well, the 2nd house is very complicated. I mean, obviously it's about sort of finance and value issues, but of course underlying those are childhood issues, and also the body area is the mouth, and so indeed you could need, you know, dental repairs, dental surgery, have mouth ulcers, blah blah blah. But much more importantly, positively, you could find your voice. So get in touch with me for a reading at my Star Wheel Astrology website, or enroll on one of my wonderful courses listed on my Master Vedic Astrology website. And I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.